Dr. Kishu, but I'll give you a brief introduction about him. He's the current managing director of Dreamron Group of Companies, and he was the former chairman of Sri Lanka Tourism and former managing director, CEO of Chevron Lubricants Lanka PLC, and director Caltex India Limited, chairman Bangladesh Caltex Lubricants Limited, and he has served as a leadership team member Asia Pacific Lubricants covering 22 countries. Further extended leadership team member Global Lubricants covering 108 countries, and he has started his career at Coca-Cola, having 11 years experience holding a variety of sales and marketing positions, including 2 country assignments in Singapore and Vietnam. Not only that, he has held some positions. So he's the expert committee member of Presidential Export Committee to formulate Sri Lanka's National Sustainable Development Strategy for the country, President of American Chamber of Commerce, President Private Sector Business Collaboration, HIV/AIDS, and Director AIDS Foundation of Sri Lanka. And he has served as a Senior Vice President, Chartered Institute of Marketing UK, Board Director, Cinesta and Oscar Foundations for Cinema and Music Industries, respectively, Advisory Board Member, Cinec Campus, and an advisory board member of the International Music Foundation, and he's a senior vice patron Sri Lanka Automotive Engineers. These are the few which I have highlighted. He's one of the vast experienced person. So I'm inviting Dr. Kishore, rather taking much time to deliver your speech. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Janaka. Thank you for inviting me, and thank you everyone for joining me this evening. One little, not a real correction, but addition. I am now the Group Managing Director, CEO of Dreamron Group of Companies. So with that little thing, let me make a few opening remarks, and then, Doctor, as we have discussed, somebody will ask questions, and then we will sort of proceed on that basis, right? That's what we said we will do. Hello?
Yes, that's been communicated. Yeah, they know about it. Yes.
Yeah, right. So, no, thank you once again for inviting, and thank you for joining me this evening. I'll try and make it as meaningful as possible. Something I have done for many public universities over the past several months, ever since the pandemic, struck us, and even before. I've been basically associating with the public universities very closely, other than my more engaged role with the private universities. So I'm currently attached to 4 private universities. I'm on the advisory boards of 4 private universities, and I wouldn't take time to mention those. So I know what the students are currently going through in terms of their thought process, in terms of how they perceive the future and how they read the current environment. And with the work I do, I'm very much able to understand your mindset. So the topic that has been put together by the university's job search and how to compete in a tight labor market during a pandemic situation. This is not only the heads of UOL university students, but a topic that is basically relevant to all students who are doing studies, not just in Sri Lanka, but right across the world. So it is a universal issue. It is a universal question. So some of the answers I will be giving in response to the questions you may be raising will be universal as well. So where are we today? Where are we heading? And what are some of the challenges for us? Obviously, all of us, refer to this world as being the new normal world. So new normal world, if you try to really understand the definition, it is a new world, but it is normal, right? So it's not an abnormal situation. It is not a situation that would change, because if it is normal, it doesn't naturally change. So what it connotes is that in the new normal world, or in the new world, this would be the norm. What is a norm? Norm is where we need to do things very differently. And the norm is also that the environment is extremely competitive, more challenging than ever before, and the environment is not easy at all. So how can we yet navigate all these challenges to be able to become victorious? Only way by being more competitive than ever before. So obviously, when I answer the questions, I'll tell you how you all can be more competitive. So little advice right at the beginning. Obviously, we are inundated with negative news from the time we wake up till we hit the bed. One after the other, whole heap of negative messages that are being disseminated, through various sources. You switch on the TV, you will have negative messages. You open the papers, you read the papers, they are all negative information. You access social media, it's all negative. And you talk to somebody, everyone is down psychologically, and they have negative, thoughts to share with you. So it's all negative, 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 negative. While the fact remains that there are a lot of negatives associated, with how we do things in the new normal world, there are some positives happening around the world as well. Who thought that Olympics, could be held? It was held in Japan. It was a resounding success, and all the events were conducted, and it was held. And then a couple of weeks before that, Euro Cup, the most popular sports event in the world, the game in the world is football, and the Euro Cup was successfully concluded. And during the same period, the test, all of us as Sri Lankans love cricket. The cricket test championship match was played in London between India and New Zealand, and there was a huge crowd present on the ground as well. So talking about Sri Lanka, obviously we have the India-Sri Lanka series, and the South African team is already here for another cricket series. So these are all positive factors as well. That we need to pay attention to, and also understand while there are so many negatives, there are positive things happening as well. And the other factor is everyone is talking about companies not being able to keep the profitability going, and growth seems to be an issue for most organizations. But last week, the stock market analysis that was done proved that the listed companies during second quarter this year as compared to the second quarter last year have recorded 117% growth. Obviously, last year second quarter was affected by the COVID pandemic, and things were very, very low, and it was at the rock bottom level. But from that level to the level that were recorded during the second quarter this year is 117% growth. So there is growth, there is recovery, there is momentum being gathered, and there are a lot of activities happening which are positive even in the business world. And in terms of education is ongoing, and some students are doing much better than how they could have, done it during the normal environment, right? So there are those positives as well. So we as human beings, we as professionals, we as teachers, we as students should also take into account all those positives hovering around as well. And then in terms of being competitive, we should not make the mistake of wasting our time, over all these negatives, right? We should pay more attention. We should direct all our energy towards the positives. It doesn't make any sense for any one of us to spend our time and energy, our money, all of that in trying to control things that we cannot control, right? There is absolutely no point in talking about what is happening, in America in respect of COVID challenge. Well, while it is relevant, it's not something you control. So if you want to pay attention, but don't spend 1 hour, talking about, arguing about how America is handling the COVID pandemic. Well, when it comes to Sri Lanka, yes, it's our motherland, our country, and we also need to know what is happening. All that is fine, but let's not waste our time, right? We should invest all our energy, all our time, all our effort in expanding our horizons. How can we be better than ever before? How can we be more competitive? And that's the only way to succeed in this more competitive, fiercely competitive market environment. Because COVID has changed the playing field altogether, the landscape altogether. It's more competitive than ever before. About 30% of the workforce has lost jobs across the entire world. And what happened in Australia? The worst, most aggressive protest being staged by the Australians in Melbourne. After 20 years, that's what the media said. Why? Out of the last 400 days, 200 days, the Victoria region was locked down. 200 days, right? So a lot of people have lost their jobs, but government pays the people who have lost jobs $700 Aussie dollars per week. So in Sri Lankan rupees, at today's exchange rate, I'm saying Sri Lanka Australian dollar exchange rate, it's 105,000 rupees a week, and they're getting it, right? So it's better than when they work and earn money, but they protested. So they've lost jobs. So that's the point. So yes, the number of jobs will not get expanded in keeping with our desires. So therefore, in order to be able to secure a smaller number of jobs, you've got to be competitive. So that's the whole pitch that I would like to start the session with, right? So be determined right at the beginning to invest all your energy, all your time, all your money, everything that you got in becoming a better competitor. So with that, I will pause and I'll take the first question.
Students who send the questions can switch on your cameras, and you can ask those questions. We received nearly 27 questions, so it's time to raise your questions, which you have sent us early today in the morning.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
It's really nice to meet you like this session.
Thank you. Thank you. Same here.
My question is,
Yes.
as you said, this is a very competitive environment, and
Yes.
as a fresh graduate, we didn't have any we didn't have the experience in the industry, and they are required 1 to 2 years experience. So how can we overcome these problems, sir?
Tuvangi, anyone joining the job market, will not have experience, right? So, I mean, experience is needed for executive levels and above executive levels. Obviously, at the entry level, I don't think any organization would be asking for experience because when you are university graduate who has just passed out and the organization is recruiting young graduates, they wouldn't be asking for experience. But what is important for you all to do is to go beyond your studies and gain the skills that are required for you to be able to apply your knowledge in an organizational environment. So let me talk about a few. One, in the corporate environment, you have to deal with people. So people, not really management skills, but how you interact with people, because getting into the hearts and minds of individuals, human beings, is a life skill. Every single person, no matter what industry she or he would be getting into, it's a must skill. So being able to interact with people in such a way where that interaction will create value for the two individuals and for the organization. So it doesn't come natural, right? So the art of being able to work with people is something that you got to develop. So that's kind of an experience that you can have while working, right? So all what you have to, while studying. So all what you have to do is to pay attention to that aspect and see how you can, best develop that. Getting the feedback from other people and asking, how do you perceive me? How do you read me? Do you see me as a good colleague? Do you see me as someone, who would complement your efforts? Do you see me as someone, whose relationship would, help both parties? Do you have, a kind of, attributes where you respect people to, get the respect back? Reciprocal, kind of respect. Do you have that? Are you a person who's able to naturally win people, right? When people see you, how would they read you? Would they read you as, oh, this guy is a useless guy? Oh, wow, this guy looks an impressive person, right? So these are people skills that you need to, certainly develop. And the other is, obviously, given that it was COVID for the last 1.5 years plus, you guys did not have any internship opportunities. But if you had internship opportunities, well, you would have been working in the real organizational environment where you would have been able to, lay your hands on processes, systems, the policies, the principles, to be able to understand different industries, to be able to understand different functions in an organization. But surely, again, these are things you can learn. I mean, nowadays, you can get experience by sitting in front of a laptop, sitting in front of a desktop, and you just take your mobile phone to your palm and you can have experience. So experience is not about going and spending time in an organization. It's not that. I mean, when I started, I certainly didn't have any experience, and I joined Coca-Cola. And this is no exaggeration. This is real. And my job was a sales executive job. So I was sent to a distributor, and we went on a route And on first day itself, I created a record, and I'll tell you what the record was. I went on a route where the maximum number of Coca-Cola sold before me was only 3 cases, right? And believe me, on my first day as a sales executive working with the sales reps, directing the sales rep, I sold, how many would you guess? 72 cases on the same route, right? So one would have thought, no, I mean, the maximum had been 3 cases. I'm talking about, late 80s. So that time Coca-Cola was not very popular. It was, perceived to be kasaya in a village parlance. So that was it. So you really don't need experience gain from an organization to start performing. And during my long years of work experience, I'll tell you, I've recruited thousands of people over 30 plus years being a corporate leader. And I've seen some young graduates coming in and from day one performing better than some people who have had 10 years experience, right? So don't be limited by this experience notion, right? All what you need is knowledge, understanding what a job is, what the job expectations are, and just get that into your head, into your system, and then from day one you apply yourself, and you should be okay. So don't think that the industry is asking for experience from young graduates. It's a wrong notion that most of you all have. So just get that off your head, right? At the entry level, you don't need any qualification. All you need is your skills added on to the knowledge you got. And you've got to demonstrate your skills at the interview itself. And then if you are recruited, from day one, demonstrate your skills, right? And that is what is important. And with that, you make an impression. I told you how I started my first day. And, you do your job perfectly. You make an impression, and then you start build on it. And over a period of time, you will have, experience. Let me cite one other example. When I created history in Asia, as the youngest Asian to be appointed as the CEO of a multinational organization, when I had only 1 degree, mind you, and everyone is chasing qualifications, I'll tell you, I had only 1 degree when I created that Asian record. Did I have experience as a CEO? I mean, before me, it was 4 Americans who headed this organization, and all those Americans had experience from around the world. And I was all alone in Sri Lanka. Of course, when I was working for Coca-Cola, I had done 2 country assignments. So that was a little bit of foreign exposure for me. But running a listed entity, demands a lot of experience. And without experience, you can easily make a mistake. I didn't have any of those. But I just over 2 years, I surpassed all the records created by the Americans and made Caltex the most profitable company in Sri Lanka without a single foreigner. When I joined the organization, there were 4 foreigners, and they were making maximum of 600 million rupees per year. And with all Sri Lankan team, I took it up to 3.5 billion, 3,500 million, right? So I gained experience while applying myself. And there is this saying that, you have to get into water if you want to swim, right? So it's something like that. So don't worry about experience. Don't too much worry about experience. Experience is something you can gain. Experience is something you can gain without working as well. That's the point I'm trying to drive. So read, make observations, talk to people, talk to those who are working. You have your family members working in organizations, you have your relatives, you have your friends, you have your boyfriends, you have your girlfriends working. Just talk to them and ask them how things are done in an organization, so that when you enter into an organization, things will not be that foreign. There will be familiarity, there will be similarities. You'll be able to basically gel yourself with the organizational culture, and then beyond that you can start performing. Thank you. I'll take the next question.
Sir, when recruiting new candidates, what are the main consideration most of companies given during this pandemic situation when comparing to before?
Okay, so pandemic situation, as I described at the beginning, is more competitive, right? And companies are not making the same level of profits as they did before. While I said that there has been an increase from last year to this year, if you compare with the historical performance, because the consumption has dropped with COVID in the world, in most industries other than telecom and some of the other industries which are actually growing at a much faster rate. I mean, see what we're doing today, and if there was no COVID, this would have probably been face-to-face one. But we are consuming so much, ICT tools and ICT stuff and data, all of that. So obviously that industry has got expanded. So the consumption has got gone down. With that, the gross margins have gone down. With that, the bottom line is affected. It's not the same impressive bottom line anymore. So therefore, you got to look for efficiencies. So if there were two people to do one job yesterday, today it will be just one people. So today, one individual has to do the work volume two people used to do before. So efficiency is number one. Efficiency of the individual, the productivity of an individual. So how does that come? That comes with application skills. Knowledge is not the decisive factor. You are recruited because you have the knowledge. Or they'll look at you, they'll talk to you, they'll call you for the interview because you have the technical knowledge that you need to be able to perform in that industry. But beyond that, how can one use the knowledge in order to create commercial value? Right? How can one use the knowledge to be able to create commercial value? For which you need good skills. So application ability. So there, you got to be fast. You got to be very efficient. You got to be a person, who's able to handle a large volume. Commitment has to be at the highest level possible. You have to be extremely energetic, because when you look at a person, you can say whether that person is a hardworking person or not, right? The energy, the passion inside somebody, is something that a good interviewer would be able to always rate, right? So there are new interview techniques. It's not the old school techniques anymore. You would not be asked if you went in for a modern, good multinational type of organization. Mark my word for it, nobody will tell us about you. That era is gone, right? Nobody will tell us about you, right? So it will be something very different. It is called competency-based interviewing. So they'll try to gauge what you have done in the past and how you have dealt in that situation, how you have basically come up with the strategy, the action plan, how you have executed it, what results you have achieved, what obstacles, what barriers you had to encounter in reaching the final goal, and how you interacted with people, how you supported each other, how you collaborated with each other in order to deliver that final result. So those would be tested, those would be questioned those areas will be measured and assessed, right? So that's what you would do. So the difference between then and now, old world, new normal world, is that you got to be, more kind of, what shall I say? Let me, use 4 or 5 words to describe what the organizations are looking for. The speed, efficiency, productivity that comes with dedication, commitment. Multitasking is something, because if there were 2 people to do the same job before, it's not 1 person now, and 2 people together would have had more skills than the number of skills 1 individual can have. So you got to multi-skill yourself so that you would be able to have the skills of those 2 in 1 individual. So multi-skilling is one. You got to have extremely high level of energy, right? I keep telling the younger generation, be as energetic as possible. Just look around the world. Look at the countries, that have progressed, that have, being able to achieve economic independence. They are energetic nations. See how Chinese work. They are very energetic. So what differentiates Chinese from Sri Lankans? Nothing but the energy. Long hours, speed, process-driven, well-disciplined. And they are the people who can deliver better results, larger volume, faster. So that is what that you need to concentrate on and make sure that you are that person. So just get the maximum energy into your body, into your head, into your nerve system, into your skin. Get that, into whole, body and soul, and have that power in you. It's with that power that you are able to generate, commercial value for an organization. And you keep raising the level of commercial value, that's when you will get promotions. You give more, organization will give you great accountability. And that's what is called promotions. So it's all about that. Thank you for that question. So I'll take the next one.
Dear sir,
Yes.
currently I'm working in the apparel sector. There's a big problem we are facing in these days. 3 month new recruitment employees labor turnover is very high. It can be their personal problem, department problem, or pandemic situation of this country. So currently we are doing some programs such as T-session meeting, first salary party induction, and so on to retain them. But they are resigned from the company highly. So could you please give me any suggestions or new methods to retain the new recruit employees?
Okay. What's your name?
Fushani Disanayake.
Fushani, yeah, okay. Fushani, if the turnover within the first 3 months is high, there should be, and if you are saying that, those who have been recruited before, the situation is different, then there must be some policy, decision change or some fundamental error in the whole, system, right? It could be that, you can do everything you talked about, where you said, okay, first salary party, that and this, in order to create a more friendly work environment. But it could be that the salary is very low, right? So one needs to see the job as being real value for somebody to be able to like the job and continue in that organization, right? So it's an exchange, right? I want a job, but I want a job that would give me, what I look for. So if elsewhere the salary is better, work environment is better, work conditions are better, then obviously people would always make that comparison, and they would obviously leave the organization, current organization, and then join the new organization. So what is important, Fushani, is for you to really understand why they are leaving, and ask them those questions very honestly and openly, and also do a kind of a survey to try and ascertain as to whether they are quitting the job to stay at home because they are so frustrated, and they believe that staying at home, not getting a salary is better than going to work and going through that stress, getting what they can get to their hand. Or are they leaving your organization and joining another organization? So why are they leaving your organization and joining those organizations? What are those organizations? And what are the work conditions? I mean, if it's another apparel company, is that company better respected? Do they pay higher salaries? Is the work culture much better? Do they treat employees more fairly? Do they really value the people resource? Do they walk the talk? Because some companies, they say people are their best asset, but they don't treat the people as being the best asset. So there must be a major, very fundamental disconnect somewhere. So you've got to investigate into it and recognize the real issue, and then address those issues. So if the labor turnover is very high in this environment where job market is not doing well, I'm suggesting that there is a real fundamental issue, and that the fundamental issue has to be addressed, Piyushani. Next question, please.
Hello, sir. With this pandemic, we couldn't find any proper job vacancies because most of the organization freeze their vacancies. So when we are applying for another job in next time, a time gap is created. So is that gap create a problem when we find another job?
If I understood your question right, most of the organizations today have frozen new recruitments. They don't have new job openings. So therefore, you have no opportunities, and you need to wait for those opportunities. So your question is, if you wait, whether there'll be an issue, whether it will be a disadvantage. Is that the question?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. So no, not really. I mean, it's an exceptional environment, right? Within which new jobs are hard to come by. So that's something the employers have very clearly understood. While companies have frozen jobs, the jobs that they have had before are being pruned as well. It's not the same number of jobs. A lot of companies have gone in for layoffs, right? Some companies have cut down the benefits offered to the employees. Incentives have been cut, bonuses have been reduced. So that's the environment in which we are working today. So no, it's not a disadvantage at all. But what is important for you all is to keep your energy going, keep your knowledge expanded, by engaging yourself in various activities, reading, watching, having discussions, learning from the environment, learning from what you see on TV, learning from what you lay your hand on through social media. So just keep your knowledge alive and keep gaining knowledge, keep expanding your skills, gain new skills, and that's the way to keep your capacity going. And with enhanced capacity, when the job market has opportunities for new students or undergraduates, you'll be better positioned to be able to secure some of those jobs. So is it limited to Sabaragama University or Uvavellas University students only? No, it is something that's common to every university student in Sri Lanka. Is it limited to Sri Lankan university students only? No, it is the case for all university students across the entire world. Is it only limited to public university students? No, it is the case for private university students as well. So don't think that you are disadvantaged and then you are the only one affected. No, this is a universal issue. So it will not be a disadvantage, and I can assure you that.
Sir?
Yeah.
Sir, in nowadays with the competitiveness with the students, having a degree is not enough.
Yes.
So if it is so, what are the best professional qualifications that we must have in order to secure in the industry, because it is hard to find a job with the competition and with the pandemic situation?
Okay, so Nimeshi, the knowledge only is not enough, and that is something you all know. That is something I can reaffirm. Knowledge only is not enough at all, and you need skills to be able to get the best out of the knowledge. And organizations look for people who have technical knowledge or qualifications who can convert the knowledge into rupees and cents, right? So there is a notion, I think that notion has no place in the modern world, but a couple of decades ago, people thought that best way to be competitive or best way to secure the best jobs is to get as many qualifications as possible. And if you have qualifications that, you will have the edge, is not there anymore, not at all, right? And again, I would like to, stress upon my own experience. I did tell you that when I created history as the youngest to be appointed by a multinational in Asia, I had only one degree. And it was a job that was posted globally, right? Because it's an American organization. The name known here is Caltex, but globally it's known as Chevron, and it's a listed entity. So therefore, if you like, you can go into the website and read their annual report. Their top line is 1.5 times bigger than the size of the Sri Lankan economy, right? Sri Lankan economy is only 83 billion US dollars. Top line of Chevron is 125 billion US dollars, right? So that's the company I work for. So you can just imagine the quality they look for in someone, who is heading a country, right? So if the theory or the policy was to get the most knowledgeable individual, I wouldn't have got it. Right? Because there were people who had 7 degrees, postgraduate to doctorates to all of that, even at that time, who were vying for that job. They didn't get it. I got it. Why? I had 1 degree, but with that, I could generate more value than the people who had 7 degrees. Right? So I'm sharing all this not to boast myself, but to tell you how the new world, looks at things. Right? So for that reason, I'm saying. But having said that, yes, qualifications are important. And I had 1 degree when I became the CEO of an American company, but I did all the other degrees thereafter. Today I have 2 doctorates. Today I have masters. You name it, I have all the degrees under the sun. So why did I pursue my studies beyond that after becoming the CEO? I gained that knowledge to be able to go against all the theories, because I now have the eligibility, I now have the qualification, I now have the credibility go against anyone in the world, right? So I have now created my own theory. So if I didn't have the qualifications I have gained up to now, people would have thought this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. But now no one can say that, I don't know what I'm talking about. I know what I'm talking about. I've done theories. I know my theories, but I'm going against all the theories that are, taught in the universities and colleges and, everywhere else, right? So for that reason, I got it. So coming back to your question, what is important is, being able to, create value with the knowledge you have. So whether it's professional qualifications or academic qualifications, unless you go at the skills that are required to be able to create commercial value, you will not be demanded. You will not have the demand, right? So make sure that you develop your skills, and that is what is important, right? So what skills? Well, you know what skills are important, and let me talk about 2 or 3. Number 1, you got to be a very analytical mind. Analysis is important, right? The ability to be able to find solutions to issues comes with your analytical skills, your questioning skills. Solution is easy, understanding an issue is hard. Let me repeat it. Solution is easy, but understanding an issue is hard. So the need is for somebody to be able to be a great questioner. Your questioning ability should be at the highest level possible to be able to really understand an issue, understanding an issue in the right context, and then look at all the potential solutions that you can use in order to address that problem, right? So a lot of people think that understanding an issue is easy and coming up with a solution is harder. But that's one theory that I'm advocating, and get it from me, see how it works. I am suggesting that understanding an issue is the hardest thing to do in the world. It's the hardest thing to do in the world, not devolving solutions, right? So that comes with analytical skills. So that's one. Number 2 is communication skills, right? And Sri Lankans have not been able to understand what communication means. And the moment the word communication is heard, Sri Lankans' heads go towards languages, right? For heaven's sake, communication is not language. Language is a medium, just one medium that can be used in order to be a good communicator. But let me suggest that without uttering a word, you should be able to communicate. You go, stand in front of somebody, you move your body, you move your head, you move your eyes, you are communicating, right? And the reason why the dark skin has not been able to challenge the white skin is because of that. That communication is something Sri Lankans are lacking, right? So your impression, when we look at a person, we should be able to pass judgment. Wow, this guy looks a confident person. This guy looks very smart. This guy looks a performer. This guy looks very passionate about what he's doing. This guy is dependable. This guy is a real leader. So the communication to that extent, right? And I can go on and on talking about communication for 2 hours, but I'm going to stop there. So that's a skill that you need to. Number 3 is your people skills. And people talk about teamwork and, all of that. But, it's not as simple as just working in teams. It's not that. Organizations, be it, telecommunication, be it hotel industry, be it any other, in any industry, an organization is a value chain, right? And the organizations that are able to synchronize and synergize all the activities through that value chain in the most effective way, most efficient way, are the companies that would be able to, deliver the best results. So people, not just, work in teams, but people should be able to synchronize and synergize. Just remember those two words, synchronize and synergize. So if you are in marketing, you should understand finance, you should understand procurement, you should understand supply chain, you should understand IT, you should understand people management, so that you can synchronize and synergize. So in the modern world, you cannot confine yourself to one area. You need to go beyond your core and develop that art and science of being able to synchronize and synergize. So it is that teamwork that I am advocating here, and you have to be extremely good at it, because organizations today do not recruit brilliant individuals. Let me repeat that. It sounds very awkward, but I know, but let me repeat it. Organizations do not recruit brilliant individuals. Organizations instead want brilliant teams. And for it to be a brilliant team, you don't need brilliant individuals. Right? So unfortunately, there's no time to go more into it. But these are some skills that you need to have, very critical, very modern skills. And then this is real. And I think, that would benefit most of you all. And, that's the way to, conquer the world. And with right skills being added on to the knowledge that has commercial value, and with your personal power, your passion inside, your energy, and all the other things I talked about, you can be the best competitor. You have to be able to, become victorious, and you can do it. So it's 7, and I would, end my answering questions. But let me make some final remarks. The world is more competitive, yet those who are very competitive, those who can pose a challenge to the others, can still achieve their goals and their aspirations and their vision. But what is important is for you to keep on expanding your horizons day in, day out. Every morning when you wake up, tell you more competitive. What can I do on a daily basis to be more competitive? Keep asking that question every morning, and before you hit the bed, reflect on what you have done through the day. Ask yourself, did I spend the day meaningfully? What did I do to be a better competitor during the day? And if you have been able to do well, be happy, repeat the same thing the following day. But if you're not happy, the feeling when you hit the bed is that, okay, I have wasted the day. Be determined to be a better competitor tomorrow. Just with that attitude, embark on it, really apply yourself, work extremely hard, use your head, and be determined to be the best competitor you can be. And that best competitor is in you, and onus is on you to get him or her out and pose a challenge to the others. And with that recipe, everyone can be a winner. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kishu Gomes. On behalf of everyone here, thank you taking the time to speak to us. Actually, it's really, really interesting, and sharing your valuable experience with our students. It's one of the best which we had ever had in throughout the series of our workshops. Thank you very much for coming here. We appreciate your service. Once again, on behalf of World University, I'm thanking you, and we look forward to work with you in future as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I wish every one of you a better tomorrow, but better tomorrow is not something that will be gifted. Better tomorrow is something that you've got to create. I know you can create it. Go ahead and create that. Not just for your benefit, for the benefit of all Sri Lankans. So yeah, with that thought and with that power, I'm sure you guys can achieve what you want to achieve in life. Best of luck once again. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye now.